Well, greetings. Thank you so much for watching UCTV. My name is Nora Sende and this is the Weekend Edition. As usual, every Sunday evening, we get to discuss topical issues that are making headlines in our country. Some of the things that we need to talk about are some sectors that are actually being forgotten, but yet very vital and very important in our country. Today we are talking about conservation of birds in Uganda. The topic today is the avian conservation in Uganda. I am with a group of very enthusiastic men here who are ready to make sure that the birds in our skies are safe and sound, and they are still going to be there for many generations because of the different benefits that they bring, not just to our country, but to the world over, really. And to me, I have Mr. Ampeire Precious, who is a bird guide. You're very welcome.
Precious. Thank you so much.
And then I also have Eric Ssekindu is the team leader of the Avian Conservation Uganda. Thank you, Eric, for coming.
Pleasure.
It's nice to have you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I kept on looking at the two gentlemen. I'm like, what exactly really drove you to this love of birds, if I may ask? And before we even go to the Avian Conservation Uganda Society, really, birds are rare, you know. We have people who love wildlife, but specifically sometimes birds are really not exactly given so much attention, you know. Eric, where do you draw your love for birds?
Thank you all and to our viewers. This is a very big opportunity for us as Avian Conservation Uganda Society. You see, like you've just mentioned, very many people are interested in different aspects of nature and wildlife, I would say. And it is not very usual or very common to us in Uganda to have people that are particularly, you know, picking interest and doing work to manage and conserve the birds. So this is why Avian Conservation Uganda comes up to take on this mantle. Because for us, we believe that nature is supposed to be managed holistically. So there's no way you're going to conserve a mountain gorilla without conserving the bird that disperses the seeds that at the end of it all lead to, you know, the formation of the forest that houses the mountain gorilla. So our belief is that even when we are Avian Conservation Uganda, we know that conservation is supposed to be a holistic effort. So all aspects of nature deserve, you know, particular directed efforts towards them to see that at the end of it all, we can achieve the vision of conservation of nature and protecting our environment as a whole.
Wonderfully said, actually. You're already digging into my other question of tell us a little bit about Avian Conservation Uganda Society and its mission, really. I can see you've already hinted right there in your introduction, but yes, you can go ahead and now just give us a little bit in depth about what your society really does and the mission.
All right. So first and foremost, Avian Conservation Uganda is a non-government organization registered and fully operating since 2022. That was post-COVID-19. And this came up as a vision of enthusiastic bird guides. That is why you see that in most cases, when you talk about Avian Conservation Uganda, we cannot separate it from bird guides. And even in this very program, I'm seated with a bird guide, because this is a vision that was born by bird guides who sat and thought that having derived a livelihood from bird conservation through birding and bird tourism, they needed to give back to the environment to say that there's continuity of birds, bird conservation, and bird tourism, most importantly, because this forms a very big pillar in as far as livelihoods are concerned, especially in the western part of the country. So these were young men, enthusiastic, whose vision that we took on, that thought that having derived livelihood from bird conservation and tourism, they needed to give back to the environment and birds in particular by starting up an initiative that would work towards protecting the habitats of these birds, conserving them, but particularly driven by the sustainability aspect, that even when their time to live comes, their children and the generations to come have an opportunity to, first of all, watch these birds and enjoy them, but even partake of the benefits that come with bird conservation, like ecotourism, the dispersal aspects, pollination, and the various aspects of bird conservation. So these are the gentlemen that bore the vision of avian conservation in Uganda, and something that we know that we are supposed to also play a part in. So that leads to the formation of the organization Avian Conservation Uganda, with a very simple mission, that is to promote the understanding, appreciation, and conservation of birds in Uganda. This mission is carefully crafted because we know that conservation comes at the tail end. First of all, we are supposed to promote the understanding, and now when people understand what birds are, how important the birds are, and what it is all about, they can now appreciate, because our communities are living closely with these creatures, but if they are not made to understand and appreciate, then there's no way they are going to conserve. So that is why our mission is to promote the understanding, appreciation, and then conservation of birds in Uganda.
Right.
And with a very beautiful vision, that is avian life for generations, to speak to sustainability, that in our generation we play our part and make our contribution, so that future generations also have a chance and an opportunity to partake in the various, in the various importances and benefits we get from conservation and bird.
That you are undertaking, that's one thing for sure. And I really agree with you when you say that before the conservation comes, one has to really understand and then appreciate, because you really will understand the need to conserve these birds after understanding and appreciating. Exactly. Very interesting there, and I think it's a wonderful mission that is actually put out there. I would want to talk to Eric a little bit about what do you think are some of the gaps that are in Uganda when it comes to conservation of birds, and how do you think the Avian Society is actually helping with this? The gaps, some of the gaps. Yes.
That goes to me.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, and I'm glad to be here. Precious is my name, like I had already introduced myself from the beginning. So, like Avian Conservation in Uganda, you asked me about the gaps that are still lacking, or where Avian comes in, like to help and fulfill those gaps. Avian is really doing a great job, like in visiting the communities. Most especially, we normally organize and visit some of the national parks, and then when we reach there after the bird watching excursions, then we rush to the communities, or we communicate to the local leaders, and then call the people or inform the people in the communities to come close together, and then we, the team of Avian Conservation Uganda, we talk about birds. We explain to them how important, how special birds are, and we give them the reasons to why they should also take care of them than, sometimes they used to kill them, but now at least, so Avian Conservation Uganda tries to do that in bringing awareness to the communities, and of which when the community people get to know about the conservation of birds, definitely birds will have a real and good life, because they will really not be harmed or killed again.
Very nice. I just need to know, now that I am talking to a bird guide, tell us a little bit about the bird species in Uganda, and why this diversity of bird species is very important.
Wow, thank you so much. Globally in Uganda today, we have a recorded list of about 1,100 bird species. Though we get information from different sources, but when you read the research that was carried or done by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, that was in 2022, they say we have a list of 1,000 73 bird species. Yeah, so, and of course, Uganda is ranked number 11, that is in the whole world, in having the very big number of bird species. And Uganda, when it comes to special bird species, or unique bird species, or rare bird species, Uganda is extremely blessed. When you go to Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, it has almost 50, it has about 23 endemic bird species, of which they are not found elsewhere. You have to come to Bwindi. And we have got one new special bird, that is the fox's weaver, that is only found in Uganda. Yes, please. And I'll talk about maybe the Kalamoja apalis, that is found in Pianupe, or in parts of Kalamoja. It is also soon going maybe to be, the research is going on. So more researchers, more ornithologists are like, this bird might be special to Uganda only. So we are also waiting for the outcomes.
Nice.
Yeah, you never know. We might have two special birds.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very special for
very
Uganda
special.
there.
So,
It is very interesting because actually this information may not be known to so many people out there, but it's very important when you look at it. And you have organized a run, the Avian Conservation Uganda Society has organized a run. Eric, tell us a little bit about this run. Why have you organized a run as a tool for raising awareness about this plight?
Thank you once again. Now, starting from the very tail end of the question, why have we organized the run as a tool of pushing our conservation agenda? Because the run is first and foremost a very healthy event. You know, the physical activity that comes with the run, but also the interaction that comes with the run, the people. But what even makes it more special is the cause, because running is okay, but what are you running for? We must be able to run for a cause. Like we've seen people running for cancer, we've seen the cancer run by Rotaract, and very many various runs. So we thought that as a conservation organization that is particularly interested in bird conservation, why not leverage these tools that have proved over time that they are important in raising awareness? Because a number of people didn't think that cancer is a serious issue in this country until when Rotaract took the initiative to start the Rotaract Cancer Run. Now we all know that cancer is a critical issue that needs to be addressed, that everyone should play their small part in their respective capacities to see that we can contribute to making life better for cancer patients. So we knew that if we adopted these best practices through organizing a run, this run for birds, and it's important to note that it is the first of its kind in the country. We know that we can reach a wider audience, engage more communities, have more people involved, and pick interest in bird conservation. Over time, we know that people will start asking questions. Why are people running for birds? How important are birds? Why should I even be interested in knowing anything to do with birds? So that is why this run comes up, the Run for Birds 2025 by Avian Conservation Uganda, with a very good theme that is powering a nationwide conservation awareness campaign. Because during our work, as we do our various community engagements and awareness programs, as Precious has mentioned, we get firsthand an opportunity to interact with these communities that live close to these national parks, important bird areas, Ramsar sites. And one thing we note is that communities are not aware. So there's a very big knowledge gap, which at the end of the day hinders conservation efforts. Because for us to conserve, communities must be placed at the forefront. And how do we place communities at the forefront? We must interest them in these issues and activities. So that's why we organize this run as a fundraising and awareness tool in order to support our initiatives in powering a nationwide conservation campaign. So we are aiming at extending our services to different corners of this country telling people about birds, the importance of birds, but most importantly, the opportunities that come with bird conservation.
I'm just curious to understand right now, with everything, with the planning that's going on about the run, how has been the reception so far?
Honestly, this being the first of its kind, we have engaged a number of partners trying to have communities on board, and there's how can I call it? There's a lot of questions that come with it. Why birds? Why should we be interested in birds? And this does not even come from only the local communities, but even the private sectors you're engaging with. Why of all things should we be interested in birds? So it's been an uphill task to try and convince and preach that you see, bird conservation is important, much as conservation of other aspects of the environment is also good, but also birds need to be, conserved, because like Precious mentioned, we have about 24 endemic bird species in this country. We have one that is only tied to Uganda, the Fox's River. So what happens when we lose this bird? This is already a national identity that whoever around the globe, around the world, whoever wants to see a Fox's River is supposed to travel to Uganda. And what does that speak to? It speaks to revenue, it speaks to employment and socioeconomic development and transformation of these various communities and societies. So it's not been an easy task to engage, but that is what we are here for.
Exactly.
To make sure that we can preach, have honest conversations and discussions to see that we can have as many people on board as possible, to see that everyone plays their part.
And it being the very first of its kind, I can imagine there should be a lot of questions out there. It is something new, and so many people are actually wondering. It's a noble cause. I just want to stay with you there for a minute, because the run is scheduled for next month on the 19th, right? Just give us a picture of how that looks like. Where are you starting from? And just give us a general overview of how the day will look like with the run. And why did you choose 19th October, if I may ask?
Oh, that's a very good question. 19th October is a very special day because it's going to be a Sunday. And the Saturday, the day before the Sunday, is going to be Global Big Birding Day.
Oh.
Yeah. So as we run for the birds, we shall be celebrating birds as well, because the day before the Sunday, we would have celebrated the Global Big Birding Day, which is a worldwide international event that, people get to go out there, watch birds, enjoy birds, but also record as many bird species as you can, and then submit it to the various, databases that you have in the world, in order to inform decision-making efforts and conservation efforts globally. So that's what makes 19th October special for us, because on Saturday we would have had the Global Big Birding Day, and on Sunday, with our renewed effort and energy from Global Big Birding Day, with the sightings we would have had, the enjoyment from the field, then we shall bring all that energy on Sunday to run and see that whichever step we make in our run, we can contribute to the purpose of conservation of birds. Yeah.
Yes. And your starting point is going to be where?
We shall be starting at Sheraton Hotel Kampala, at the Gardens, the Sheraton Gardens, which is, of course, also special in its own way, because it is one of the green spaces we have around Kampala, a very good birding hotspot, because we've birded there several times, and that is what informed our choice of venue. So in these gardens, we are going to be so lucky that even as we start off in the morning, we shall be birding once again. We have an opportunity to see a number of beautiful sunbirds, but even the endangered African grey parrots, because every time we've gone birding at Sheraton, we've had the rare opportunity to see these birds. So we shall be starting the run at Sheraton in the morning of 19th October, and then we shall be going around Nakasero Road, Kampala, for a 10-kilometer radius, as well as a 5-kilometer radius for people who may not manage the 10 kilometers. And then we shall get back to the venue, have exhibitions from, various partners that you have on board, and also have conversations and discussions. How best do we, play our parts, have engagements with various people, and interest more people as well in bird conservation.
Okay. Before I go to Precious, I just want, since we're still talking about the run, who are you exactly targeting? Is it families, corporates? What category of people are you targeting with this?
Yeah, so for this particular edition, I'd like to say that everyone is very much invited. Like I mentioned, everyone has a part to play. So we are targeting each and everyone, students, private sector, corporate companies, government agencies and parastatals, Uganda Wildlife Authority, NEMA, Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. So everyone is invited and everyone is targeted for this particular edition. And everyone is going to be a VIP on that day because we believe that everyone is special in their own capacity and therefore everyone ought to be treated as a VIP.
Surely, everyone should be treated like a VIP. They are running for a noble cause, which is conservation of birds. And I want to go to Eric, Precious actually.
Yes,
Precious, you are a bird guide.
Yes, please.
Just tell us a little bit about what are some of the challenges that face birds in Uganda, the conservation of birds in Uganda.
Well, thank you so much. I will definitely talk about maybe like the major 3 or 4 challenges that are being faced by avian life in Uganda. Number 1, I will bring in habitat loss. Habitat loss, that is where you find the people who have no idea maybe about the avian life or about bird life. They have tried to cut down trees and some try to clear away the swamps, doing their cultivation stuff. So habitat loss, and in cutting down trees, different tree species will be cut that are mostly or liked by some of the bird species. Maybe I'll talk of the indigenous tree species. Those are trees that bear beautiful flowers or toot fruits, like that are mostly liked by birds that do feed on fruits. Definitely when those trees are cut down, they will lack what to eat. What they will do, they will definitely migrate to another place or to another nation. Hence, lowering our list for the birds we have here in Uganda. Secondly, I will talk about climate change. Climate change, most especially here, you will rush to, like we normally receive migrant species. We have the birds that are residents and the ones that come from outside other countries. So like in winter season, there are some of the bird species that cannot manage to live in these areas. So they have to migrate to Uganda, and then after, when the climate stabilizes, birds are very smart. Of course, they know now the climates, they have settled the other side. So they come to Uganda, they be here for some months, like 1 or 1.5, sometimes 2 months, and then they go back. Then availability of food, it is also somehow a challenge, because like I will talk about maybe the flamingos. We have a lake in Queen Elizabeth National Park called the Lake Munyanyangi. So Lake Munyanyangi, that lake, it has got that quality of algae that is mostly liked by the flamingos. I can't tell how did they spot that there is such a special food for them. So they do migrate from, maybe they come from Lake Nakuru and then they come to Uganda. And when they are coming, actually, birds are very interesting. When they are coming, they are normally looking more white in color. But after reaching on that very lake, feeding on that very special algae, they turn into pink. Their colors changes, the sizes increases. So lack of food, it is also, I see it as a challenge. Then I will go to we human beings. We are also somehow relates to the avian life, whereby like in the villages, when we are still young, like in the villages, in protecting, let's say, our beans, in protecting our beans, we could get, like some people could get stones and maybe try to chase away the birds, trying to protect their what? Their gardens. The examples of birds, maybe I can talk of the speckled mouse birds. And so like we human beings in that very way, others use it to kill birds for food sometime back. So it is also a threat. We human beings were also threats. Yeah.
Yeah. Very many challenges they are facing,
Yeah,
the
very many
birds,
challenges,
really. I need to understand from Eric that there is low understanding, really, especially when it comes to the local Ugandan community, about bird conservation. Why do you think that is so? And what more can be done in order for people to really get to appreciate this more? Because we see Avian Conservation Uganda is taking steps actually to bring this to the awareness of most people that don't seem to be either interested or lack knowledge about bird conservation. What more can be done, really?
Okay, thank you. So, birding as an industry has not been as as famous or as popular as the other industries in nature conservation. So this is a growing community. It is not a very big community, first of all, and birding tourism as well is also a growing, source of revenue in the country. So why local communities have not embraced this is because you see in most cases people invest where they expect to reap. And that is the same case in this scenario. So now that birding is becoming a popular thing, it is becoming an important source of revenue. Because just to note that we have close to 1,100 bird species, and that is, most importantly, it is 50% of the bird species we have on the African continent. And with that, we have to close to 11% of the total bird population in the world. So in a way that we've come to realize that Uganda is strategically positioned, thanks to God and what He has endowed our country with, it has the potential of becoming the birding capital of Africa. You see, because when you come to Uganda, you have seen half of the birds in Africa. So that is why now with the realization that is coming, that is in most cases top to down, because this is at international level, research being done at the international stage, you see that government is also making efforts to sign conventions like the Convention on Protection of Migratory Species and the like, to see that these birds can be protected. But also in our local communities, in most cases there has been a detachment between communities and conservation as a whole generally, not even particularly birds. And that is why avian conservation comes in to close these gaps. Because in our approach, we know that cultural integration into conservation is very important. That as we conserve, we need to look for those initiatives that are traditionally and culturally relevant. So that when you go to, for example, Masaka, and you're talking about the grey-crowned crane, our national bird, you're not just going to tell them that you need to protect this because it is our national bird, but you're supposed to appeal to the people, the Baganda in Masaka who are of the Ngali clan, to say that, hey, this is your bird. You would not be here, or your clan would not be here without this bird. So it is an issue of identity at this point, that we are supposed to approach conservation in a manner of identity. That even as you're contemplating on identifying with this grey-crowned crane as a Ugandan because it is your national bird, you can at least start by saying, this is my totem. totem rather. So I have the responsibility of protecting these birds. So part of the work we do is to go into these communities and identify the cultural attachment that these people have towards birds, and now leverage that attachment to their cultures and traditions to push the conservation agenda, having the communities themselves at the forefront of conservation.
I like that the way you have tied conservation in regards to culture, and it's very meaningful, because even the crested crane is actually, you know, a Ugandan bird, you know, nationally. And so that just kind of intertwines how important these birds are, not just symbolically, but actually in our day-to-day lives, because they're tied to our culture, our totems. So much goes into all this, and then our pride, really, not just as Uganda, but as worldwide, really global, in different areas of the world. I also
maybe to add just a little, is that as government plays its role, it is the role of civil society organizations like Avian, because you find that in most cases we have a tighter grassroots attachment with these communities. So as government draws for us the policies and mobilizes part of the resources, now it is our role as you know, civil society, to engage communities and ensure that the communities can be appreciated and brought on board for conservation.
Right.
Yeah.
So Precious,
Yes, please.
is the bird species in Uganda, is the number going up or down?
Definitely the number is growing.
The number is growing.
The number is growing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we owe that to? Why is the number growing, and what should we keep doing in order for these numbers to really continue that way?
Wow. To keep growing the number, as conservationists or as people who love birds, we have like what Avian is doing, most especially like going to the communities, tell them, give them information, let them know how important or how special birds are, because they really play a very big role in the ecosystem. When we come to, let's say we are teaching the communities about or on how they can care more about bird species. So you first tell them how special they are, because the local communities or the local people will ask you, when I protect them, what am I going to get? So you have to go beyond and give them highlights on how special birds are. Number one, I will first rush to the maybe pollination. They help in pollination. We have the sunbirds, the ones we call sunbirds here, and in other countries they call them, they are related, like they call them hummingbirds. Here we call them sunbirds. But of course the hummingbirds are different from sunbirds, whereby the hummingbirds, they are more small, tiny, and unstable bird species. They are always in motion. That's what I can tell. But here our sunbirds, in pollination, of course, they visit different flowers and then feed on that very nectar, go to other flowers again. So they keep moving from different flowers. Hence, pollinating process is happening. Then I will talk about maybe seed dispersal. Bird species, when we protect them, definitely they will help us or double more food for other bird species. Whereby, like when you plant the indigenous tree species, that will bear fruits, and of which some of the bird species, like the hornbills, the plantain eaters, the tulacos, like of which now by the time we reached here, I had a plantain eater calling. It feeds on fruits. So after feeding on those fruits, it will disperse them somewhere like when it is. So when they are dispersed in a different location, definitely they will germinate. And in germinating, they will double the food for other bird species. Then and in that, the ecosystem will be balanced with different tree species, availability of food, and hence reducing competition in bird feeding. Like when they are feeding, because competition will be reduced, availability of food will be
Increased.
yeah. And another thing, maybe what we can talk about is planting trees. We human beings, that is our role actually.
Yeah.
Like what Avian does, we have tried to plant some trees in different areas, or where we go, where we have an excursion, it is a must we have to plant a tree, a special tree that we know it is mostly liked by this bird species. It is mostly liked by such birds. That will morale boost the communities to also copy from us, and be like, hey, when you plant this tree, you mean you can have these birds in your area? So even as human beings, that's what we should do. Yes, please.
Very nice. I just want to also understand from Eric, besides the run, give us a little bit more about the long-term plans of the conservation efforts, the avian conservation efforts.
Yeah, so in the long term, like we said, our vision is avian life for generations. We want to create communities that are taking lead, that are at the forefront of this conservation of birds. And this is why we take the approach of formation of community birding clubs at the different areas that we go to have initiatives, excursions, we form clubs in these communities that can be at the forefront and take on the conservation work even in our absence. So for us, our role is to initiate and empower these communities, build their capacities so that they can take charge of their resources as communities themselves to see that they can conserve the environment. But even most importantly is that we explore initiatives that we can leverage as bird conservationists to cause socioeconomic transformation of these communities. Because at the end of it all, conservation is a very expensive initiative. So as people conserve, they need to see the benefits of conservation firsthand. And that is why conservation and tourism cannot be separated. So as we go to these communities, we are generating checklists. We are posting these checklists, sharing with birders communities, with tour guides and tour operators, such that we can further market these destinations to tourists that come here, to birders and researchers as well. And whenever they go to these communities, we always have site guides. The clubs that we live at those communities that are taking on the work of birding and conservation, they keep on sharing checklists. Today we saw this bird. So today we saw this bird. So as visitors come in, these people take lead, the site guides at these various sites. And in a way, they are earning an income through ecotourism, while at the same time being at the forefront of conservation and protection of these communities. So in brief, our long-term vision is to see communities at the forefront of bird conservation, appreciating nature through the lens of birds, and being empowered, socioeconomic transformation of communities through birding, bird conservation, and bird tourism.
Nice.
Yeah.
Getting back to the run, someone wants to be involved, someone wants to contribute in this run, the very first of its kind. What do they do? What does it take for someone to be involved?
Yeah, so for someone to be involved, individuals, our kit goes for 25,000 Ugandan shillings. And then we have various packages for corporate partners that would love to support this initiative. We have gold, silver, and platinum. And yeah, that is how we can work together. We also have a call for volunteers that is out for people who would love, maybe they cannot afford a kit, but they would love to take part in organizational activities and, contribute the small they can towards the bird conservation journey. So we have a call for volunteers out there on our media platforms. Avian Conservation Uganda on LinkedIn, on Twitter or X, on Facebook and Instagram. So there's room for all of us to really take part and participate in this initiative.
Surely. I would like to hear closing remarks. Let me start with Precious. Give us a little closing remarks about the run and about aviation conservation, really.
All right. Thank you so much. The people who are watching, I would like maybe to tell them when I'm about the run, I would maybe encourage each and everyone to come and participate. Like Mr. Eric told us, the kit goes for only 25k, that is Ugandan shillings. So, and everyone who feels like birds are really important to our environment, birds are really important to the ecosystem, should also come and participate in the run, hence giving back to the birds. And again, to the conservation of birds, I would encourage all those people that are watching to actually try to maintain the habitats for the birds. Maybe the cutting down of trees should be at least stopped. Or when you're cutting down a tree, you at least know the species of the trees you're cutting. Is it important? Or it is not important? At least they try to maintain those special trees that are really used or most liked by the bird species, because a bird might not feed on some fruits in that very tree, but puts in a nest. That is also something important. Mm-hmm. I'm very sure I have seen different bird nests in different trees in different locations. So birds, they really nest where they feel like, here I'm comfortable. So I would love maybe to tell them the cutting down of trees should be reduced. Next, planting trees that are very important. Then, and share with other people that have no idea about bird conservation or about how birds are very special in the country. Yeah, that's what I can maybe tell them.
Very important. Eric, your final remarks in regards to the same?
Yes, so thank you very much, first of all, for hosting us, Uganda Catholic Television. It is a pleasure for us to get such spaces to engage with people out there and preach the message, because we know that on such platforms we even reach a wider audience. In my very closing remarks, I would like to mention that to all people out there, and conservation actors, private sector, because the rate at which we degrade these habitats, the rate at which we do deforestation is really outpacing the rate at which we are conserving and doing reforestation efforts. So it is important for us, first and foremost, to protect what is existing before we even go to the direction of restoring. So let us protect what we have, because conservation is supposed to be a holistic effort for us all. And to everyone out there, especially the youth, this is our time. So we are supposed to take charge of our country, take charge of our natural resources, and be at the forefront of protection of nature as a whole. So I call upon all youth out there, all Ugandans and fellow citizens, to join us as Avian Conservation Uganda in this call for conservation and protection of birds. Important to mention that Avian Conservation Uganda is a membership-based society. So we have members from junior membership to corporate membership, student membership, professional membership, honorary membership. So I also invite the community out there to join us, become members of Avian Conservation Uganda, and let us work together, let us collaborate to see that we can have tangible efforts and even wider impact for all of us together. All of us have a role to play. Thank you.
Indeed, all of us have a very big role to play. And thank you so much, Eric and Precious. We look forward to a very successful run, really, come the 19th of October this very year. And that really marks the end of our discussion this evening. It has been nice having you. I hope we can all be a part of avian conservation in Uganda, a very noble cause there. The Avian Society, the Avian Conservation Uganda Society is actually making sure that we get to play a part in conserving the birds that we have here. And these birds play a very important role one way or the other, indirectly or directly, in different spheres in our society. Thank you so much for staying with us on the Weekend Edition. I am Nora Sende. Until next time, stay well.